He's just released a new film.
Yes, Oppenheimer. Where is it in your ranking?
Third.
Okay.
I think.
Okay.
Behind The Prestige. Above the other movies. But yeah, he just released Oppenheimer, the biggest indie movie of the year. I love indie cinema.
I am, pun intended, blown away.
Ayo!
This is like my most anticipated of the year.
Yeah, because you're fucking boring.
Because I'm a film bro.
Your most anticipated of the year should be Gran Turismo. From gamer to racer.
See, now that Oppenheimer's already out, that is my most anticipated.
Fuck yes.
So I think Oppenheimer as a person is a very interesting like person just to kind of like look at.
Oh, I liked it a lot as a history lesson.
Yeah, like it's one of them because I think Oppenheimer, like his story is very interesting because of how he made this thing, realized, oh my god, I shouldn't have done that.
Yeah.
But then the people who made it for go, wait, are you telling me that you didn't like making the thing that you made for us? You should be dead. Like you don't deserve to be alive. And it's like, and it's like this story of like, to me, like this film is like a story of how America can create and destroy its own like heroes, quote unquote. Like Oppenheimer is not a good person necessarily, but I don't think the film is necessarily trying to be like whether or not this was right or wrong. I mean, I do think that the act of nuclear war very clearly takes a stance on that. Yeah. That it is wrong. Yeah. The ending alone kind of cements, like, I don't think it's trying to say nuclear war is great. Yeah. Like, but it's more so, I think it's like what it's more so exploring is like Oppenheimer as a character and as why they're sort of like, a lot of the film is a character study of Oppenheimer and his sort of like how he sort of confronts like, most of the film is about like both like as well as the nuclear bomb. It's also about how like it's also about like how like Oppenheimer like, on like a political scale and how Oppenheimer's like communist ways, which is just, he wasn't a communist, but he was a man who was, he didn't want to be put in a box, but he would explore communism ideas and these like sort of values. And it's a film sort of exploring like the political prejudice of like that time. Yeah. And also as well, it's a film about like how America destroys its heroes, and it's a film about how you cope with building like a tool that it can just completely destroy mankind. Yeah. And that's what's interesting about this. Like the film has a lot of ideas, so many ideas, and the way it presents them is incredibly overwhelming. Yeah. But in the best way possible. Yeah. Like, to me, like the film almost feels like a symphony, the way the music plays into it. Like how I kind of love how the film, when it starts, you're just dropped in. Yeah. Like I love how you have like the logos and then just boom, music, and you're just in, and it's like a very fractured movie which could go so wrong. Yeah. If it's made by someone else, but I think Nolan's very good at being unconventional and messing with like, he doesn't just want to make a linear biopic of Oppenheimer, and I think that's wise. Yeah. I think it's more interesting to do it this way, where you have two timelines, one that's in colour, one that's in black and white, and you sort of go back and forth, and you sort of create this kind of fractured storyline. Yeah. And it's like, it's just this very like, again, it's just such an interesting film to sort of watch and sort of investigate, because there's just so much to chew on in every single scene. There's so much to explore all of like Oppenheimer as a character, which Cillian Murphy is incredible in.
The acting across the board is fantastic.
Everyone's incredible. I mean, I genuinely think this could sweep the Oscars for the acting, or at least could get a lot of nominations. Cillian Murphy is fantastic. Yeah. I think he's a very strong runner to win it.
I wouldn't be surprised if he did.
Robert Downey Jr. Yeah, it's incredible. Emily Blunt gets one like particular scene near the end, which is fucking outstanding in.
Yeah.
Florence Pugh even in the few scenes that she's in of it is great. But that's another thing. The cast is incredible. Like just the sheer amount of people in it. In like bit roles.
Yeah.
As well, like
fucking Rami Malek's in it for like 2 seconds.
Rami Malek, fucking Roderick from Diary of a Wimpy Kid's in it. Fucking Josh Peck.
Yeah.
Like it's got a massive cast full of different people, but again, it's like, but everyone's rating it. It doesn't distract either. Like like Gary Oldman.
Yeah.
Is in it for one scene.
Yeah.
And I didn't realise it first, but I was like, oh my god, that's Gary Oldman.
No,
and it's like,
and
he's great. In that one scene, he's fantastic in that one scene that he's in, and it's like, it's just, again, it's like, I feel, to me, like, this feels like a very, like, Nolan sort of harking back to, like, cinema of, like, the 70s and the 60s, making this 3-hour epic of a person that's got this massive cast and a massive budget.
Yeah.
That's what it feels like. It's not a blockbuster, or it's a blockbuster drama. Yeah. Which we don't really get. No. A film where it's like, here's a film on an IMAX 70mm IMAX screen, and most of it is people talking in rooms. Yeah. And it's like, but again, when those people talk in rooms, your fucking heart's pumping. Yeah. Like, I literally was like, I was losing it watching it. Like my fucking heart was racing through the entire film. Yeah. Even though most of it is just people talking to each other. Yeah, it's like the way it just the way it presents itself, and it's mainly thanks to the music. Yeah. The music is phenomenal in the movie. Yeah. And it's like, I've seen some complaints about the music, where it's like, where like some people have said like, oh, like the music's like overbearing, it's too much. I'm like, and it's like, yeah, like the music is it can be overbearing in some scenes, but again, that's kind of the point. You really get to dive into Oppenheimer's head. Yeah. And you sort of get to explore, and it's very like Terrence Malick in a way. Yeah. The way it sort of confronts like physics and sort of chemistry, and like how there's like many shots where like it cuts to like fucking like fire and particles and all these things, and it like, and as it does it, you see like close ups of like, oh, it's like the way it's edited is incredible. The way it like flows through these things, again, it feels like a symphony. Yeah. The way it just feels so tightly constructed, and like there's like a flow to it where even though it's very non-linear, you can sort of see the path it's on. Yeah. And it's like how it's able to sort of tell like the story and how things come back into it. Like so much of the film revolves around one scene essentially. Yeah. Between Oppenheimer and Einstein. Yeah. The whole film practically is centered around that one conversation. Yeah. That you finally sort of see at the end. Yeah. But it's like, again, I just think the way it navigates that stuff is incredible. The way like it's able to like pack so much into itself as a 3-hour drama, but do so in a way that's still like you can still watch and get the gist, and you can sort of follow, and it's like it's overwhelming. But Nolan said this before, and it's in Tenet as well, where he says like, don't try to understand it. Yeah. Feel it. Yeah. And in Tenet, I feel like that doesn't work. Yeah. In that, because it's still trying to explain what's going on. But being in Oppenheimer, you don't have to necessarily get every single thing what's going on. Yeah. You don't have to get every name. You don't have to, because I think it works both as a biopic, but it also just works as a character study. Yeah. If you just want to focus on Oppenheimer himself, you get plenty out of it. Yeah. You will watch it and get so much out of it. And it's just this very interesting movie where it's a great biopic that tells the story of the atomic bomb and all that, but it also works as a character study of how, Oppenheimer's like place in America, like how it got built and destroyed simply by him making what they wanted and then them just, chewing them up and spitting them out. Yeah. And that's another like thing that I think is really impressive, is how it's able to, because I've seen some complaints about the film regarding like some of the things, like there's no Japanese people in it. It doesn't show the bomb like hitting like Hiroshima or Nagasaki. You don't see any of that. The only time you see the bomb is the Trinity test. And I totally understand that. I totally understand their position. But I think for me, my sort of feeling on that is I don't think I want to see an American film attempt to explore that when so many Japanese films have been made that explore the impact of like Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Yeah. Just so many. I mean, even Godzilla. Yeah. Like that whole film, like the original Godzilla, is about that. It's their sort of, there's so many films and so many, even anime too, that have like explored it that are just incredible. And I'm like, I think it was wise for the film to focus on Oppenheimer. Yeah. That is what the film is focused on. Yeah. Is Oppenheimer. That is like, and the thing is, it doesn't forget that. There's that scene where like Oppenheimer, you don't see any of the images, but you see him sort of reacting to like the images of like the Japanese people. Yeah. Like afterwards, you sort of see him like watching horror of like what he's done, and it's like, and I think it was because I've seen complaints for it, but I think by like not focusing on those things, I think the film finds focus. Yeah. The focus is Oppenheimer. Yeah. That is the focus. I think if you start going into other things like that, I think you lose some of that focus. Because I totally understand it, and I do think like that is a valid point, but I also just think I just don't think it's a good idea for American film. I mean, it's a British director, but American films like Oppenheimer to be exploring it in that way when we already have so much Japanese media that's exploring it, and it's like I think it's let them tell that story. You know what I mean? It's like, absolutely. Especially because in the grand scheme of things, what would that add to the movie other than what the film's already saying? It's like we're already sort of well aware of how harrowing like nuclear warfare is, and so I think so we already know that, and we're well aware of that, and it does somewhat give you that. Yeah, it lets you know, like there's an incredible scene in the film when Oppenheimer is like, giving a speech about, like after the bomb drops, he gives a speech and he says like, like it's a pity we couldn't use it on the Germans first, stuff like that, and everyone's like clapping, and you can see like the area around them is like shaking and stuff, and then like there's a light, and then you see the crowd, like the skin is on. That scene is fucking immaculate, terrifying, just an absolutely like horrific scene. But again, it's like, it's those scenes which is why Oppenheimer works, because it's a character study. It's focusing on Oppenheimer. That is the focus. I think by focusing on the person, it just works as a film. Like it's just one of those films that like everything about it just works. The visuals are stunning. Obviously the performances, the music, everything about it. It's such an old school film in the best way possible. In the exact way that I think Christopher Nolan in some ways has been trying to emulate for a very long time. Which is those kind of traditional films. Absolutely. And I think this has probably been his most successful attempt at telling a 70s kind of this big bombastic epic in a way that suits him. I think this is easily his best. Like for me, by far this is his best film.
No, that's absolutely fair. I agree with the majority of stuff you said. I think it's fantastic. I think the acting is phenomenal. I think a lot of the filmmaking on display is phenomenal. I think the last hour is a bit long. The fucking hearings, they do drag a bit for me. I did also need the toilet, that might be why. But no, it loses me a bit there. I think that second hour and even the first, I think is immaculate. Just really, really, really fucking good. And for me, the only reason why I have it third in my ranking and not second or first is purely down to just preference.
No,
I just like silly magicians.
I like seeing silly magicians do their silly little tricks.
Yeah, exactly.
No, yeah, exactly. I mean, that's the thing. I've seen I totally understand why some people will have it as their number one, especially when it's
fuck me. This is a better made movie than The Prestige, without a shadow of a doubt, and it's probably a better made movie than Memento. But for me, I love Memento.
No, but it's just personal preference. Yeah,
The Prestige is silly little magicians doing silly little things. Count me in. But no, this is phenomenal. I would not be surprised if this destroys the Oscars.
I think it could.